Marvel Rivals has finally given the community what it's been asking for, a comprehensive PvE mode featuring new customization, loadouts, characters, and hidden bosses. Today, I will be going over every single step of the way on how to master the Blood Hunt, get the most out of your character builds, and how to have the most efficient and fun runs available. But first,
gave opinions, wasn't needed. Came clutch with a buzzer beater. Beast feast and he eats the beat. Whatever's left, let the buzzers eat it. Quick with it, clean record. Mayweather, undefeated. He came and he saw and he conquered. I got a slay at the concert. You know the story, the tortoise in here. You want the glory, your nose in the air. I couldn't care less about your money, phone, and your pair of shoes and your side hose.
What's good, nieces and nephews? Big Unc Chaos here to give you all the Marvel Rivals Zombies Blood Hunt quick tutorial guide. This will be the beginner tutorial for any of you who are not super familiar with the PvE modes we have in Rivals. If you enjoy this type of content and you want more PvE modes, holler at your boy because I've been having a great time playing it lately. Now, with all good things, you're gonna have to start in the beginning. So let me just start off by showing you a couple different ways you can access the Blood Hunt. First things first, for anyone who's confusing, you just go to change your game mode options, you look out for the Blood Hunt, and it's gonna take you straight there. When you click on it, you actually have the option of going through various different modes from normal all the way up to the multiple tiers of extreme and nightmare. Now, to be very clear here, I have not finished all the nightmare modes yet, but I've been having so much fun playing it and leveling up my character that I'm just trying to enjoy the process this time. Let me show you a little bit more about some of the character breakdowns and how it's gonna work. So for starters, you get a brief overview on the game, how it works, options to get certain packs and Uru shard packs. These are going to allow you to skip through certain levels and nightmares at a quicker rate, but those don't really matter, and I'll cover that more in the advanced tutorial guide. Now, starting off the character selections, as you can see here, each of your characters is going to have their own separate level. This is going to be similar to what you saw previously before in the last event, where each character had up to, I think, about 40 points allotted, but this is a lot more flushed out. For example, let's take a look at Punisher, for example. Now within here, you're allowed to get certain items and gear that you can stack onto your character. A weapon piece gear, an armor piece gear, accessory piece gear, an exclusive one to your character. Now, some people don't have them immediately unlocked, and some characters are gonna have some baseline ones. But Squirrel Girl, who I've taken some time to invest in, I can see her items here. This is also a set piece. The one I have set currently, it gives you an accurate representation of not only the rating, the strength, the changing, and how it's going to impact your character. Next up, you've got the armor section. And in the armor section, you're gonna get, again, other boosts, baseline effects. There's also extended effects if you look carefully at the bottom here. So D and C, as you can see, you get an additional 8.1% block rate and an additional 236 health. Following up the accessories, again, sometimes you get abilities like bonus damage, specialty items, and then the exclusive ones. These are going to sometimes change either your rate of fire, the way your weapon moves, and those types of things. So make sure that as you're playing through the levels and you unlock these things, they're gonna drop on the ground. Be sure to pick them up and equip them. It costs absolutely nothing. And the further along you play within each of these modes, the more of these specialty items you're gonna get to equip your character for their gear on their runs. Now, if we take a look here at the right-hand side, we're gonna see the gear score. This is gonna tell you the overall rating of your gear, letting you know if you're using something that is or isn't as optimized as it should be. Something else to keep in track of, you're also getting the breakdown of each of your bonuses. So I've got an additional 50 damage bonus. I've got an additional 20% output. And if you click next to them, it's gonna tell you exactly what these things are. A huge improvement to the last game mode where I felt as though some of the upgrades were a little limited. So total output boost is going to be providing an extra amplification to all damage dealt, which gradually tapers off as the total amplification values increases. Value displayed is the final after diminishing returns are applied. So basically, this is going to be how much output, increasing the maximum amount of damage I'm able to put out in the beginning. Think of this as if it was JJK or Jujutsu Kaisen. You can have higher output, which means you can put out more, but that doesn't necessarily make you stronger if you don't have the energy to do it. In this case, this is just a limit increase for those of you who get confused. We also got some more things such as categories for survival, special. I'll be sure to break each of these down a little bit more in detail later for you guys in the advanced guide, but I want to make something a little bit easier to digest for those of the new players. Now, next up, you've got a quality called traits. I'm going to look at Thor's traits for this. So this is going to be that skill tree we talked about before. You can level up different aspects. You've got the basic general trait, then you've got the specific moves, his rune awakening, his thunder formation. With Jeff, I know he had his splash and he had his underwater movement. Punisher, obviously you've got the shotgun and the sweeper. the shotgun and the barrager, which is going to be the automatic rifle. So multiple different options on upgrading them. And if you look further down, you're going to see just how in depth this really goes. Now, something important. I like to get all the tuner effects because those are essentially going to be helpful whenever you play. It doesn't matter who you're or what build you're going for. Some of these general ones are going to still be useful and they don't hurt. Plus, you don't really want to end up forgetting them later. If you're struggling with some of your points, you only have a little bit based on your level, be sure to focus in on one category over the other. But I would probably make sure I get all of these clicked before I do things like, I don't know, getting this to 5. That's just an example, of course. Health is one of the most important avenues. Now let's take a look at Arcana. Arcana is going to be the additional effects you get. Now, as you play, these are going to be the baseline that's offered to all of your characters, So what does that mean? That means all of them are going to get more health. All of them are going to have a damage output increase. Lots of things like that matter. You can even reset these points if you want and reset them other places. So maybe I want to increase the output of damage. Okay, I'm allowed to do that with my points, no problem. It's a super easy change, super easy fix. And for those wondering, I have no idea what these things do, but I'm guessing it's going to be more powers. And it also gives us an idea of how high the nightmare runs are going to go. At least nightmare 70. Hello? That's pretty intense. Now, Arcana. This is going to tell you about all the different baseline Arcana we can run into. These are going to be just general things you're going to see. These items specifically are going to be things like increasing your block rate, dodge rate, damage, ult charge, etc. As you play more, you're going to unlock more of them as well, so don't worry about that. There's even an achievement section for those of you who are looking for special items such as skins. I believe there's a little Wilson Fisk keychain somewhere in here. I haven't exactly found it. And of course, a leaderboard. Wow. So far we've Nightmare 95 completed in 8 minutes. That is crazy. Now, lastly, foraging. This is going to be something that's very important as well. What you can do is you can filter out your gear. Take out the ones you want and the ones you don't. Confirm. Select all. And what you can do is you can smelt. These are going to be the items that, again, those Uru shards we talked about a little bit before. You can also forage items and whatnot too, but that's going to come a little bit later. And it comes from selecting which character you're going to base them off of, and then using some of your gear and determining what part you want, and then using some of the forge materials you had to craft something. Now, I would highly recommend saving these until later, because let's be honest here, until you get to the 70s, essentially you should be stacking at most of your resources in general. I do think that most people are going to make the mistake of getting them too early, but if that happens, it's okay. There's going to be plenty of items to forge later on, so keep that in mind. Last non-in-game item I want to discuss is the Lifeline serum. So this is going to essentially be the same thing as the those lives we got from the last mode, where you can pay to basically keep yourself alive over and over and over by buying them from the store. I think it's like 100 blue coins for the main one. I haven't got any of them. I just had all those saved from the last one. So yeah, very useful for those of you who've got it. Those who don't, consider getting some of them if you got some extra points or an odd number that you want to get rid of. Now, when you first enter the game, you're going to have the option of selecting from 6 characters. Find someone you like and pick them. I don't think it's going to matter for the most part until you get to the later tiers as far as things like metas and whatnot. But this game mode is meant to be fun, and I do believe genuinely you can complete it with any character. When you first enter, you're going to have the option of picking an item. Me, I'm going to go for the bonus health because I've been finding myself needing a lot more of that. After that, you'll find yourself going into the circles and following essentially a path. Now, for those of you who do not want spoilers on these battles, I'm going to highly suggest you skip ahead probably to the end of the video, maybe about the last 2 minutes to get some hidden tips or information. But I would not recommend, if you want to be spoiled on anything, to continue watching from this point on. Each of the battles has a wave. You're going to be fighting a select amount of, I guess, vampires. I'm not really sure what these guys are. But by doing this, you'll be able to proceed to next modes. It's almost like you're doing a relay. Oh, let me get out of here. Another cool feature is healing. They've given us all a little thing on the tab there where we can heal ourselves. Now me, I've decided to go for the Moon Knight mode with the punches because I got hands, you know? I'm fighting like in the comics. I think this is probably one of the most fun ways of playing him, and certainly one of the ways a lot of people are going to be utilizing it. And for those who don't remember, it's also how Thor ended up getting the better upgrades for his hammer throw. So shout out to NetEase for taking that into account. Now while you're fighting on the ground, you're going to see little things like this. That's what I meant before. This is a pendant made specifically for Moon Knight, which is I'll be able to use after the battle for my next runs. Very useful. After clearing out that main way, you're going to proceed to the next locations and follow these up bit by bit. And as you look at the top right next to that extreme, you'll see 3 keys. That's going to represent the 3 different bosses I can fight. Also, fun fact, you can increase your abilities basically whenever you want, but it's highly advised to do it in between rounds. For each of those keys, you're going to have some type of objective. For one of them, it's going to be destroying a barrier, breaking a wall. Another fun fact, by the way, as you guys are going to see as we get closer, there's a section on here you can actually skip. Now for this stage, it's actually a little bit confusing. You don't need to fight all these monsters in here. What you got to do is break that wall down there. One of the easy ways of doing that is just having a Punisher or somebody shooting it. But me, I personally like fighting these guys. And after we complete that, we'll see one of the keys gone away. Look at it. It says destroy the barrier at the end of the bridge within the time limit and reach the target point. That's our special objective. And that's how you get those keys to go away. Now, unfortunately, we were not able to clear this out in time, and because of that, we've lost access to one of our keys, which is a bit unfortunate, but not everyone understands how this works, which is exactly why I'm explaining it. Now, in order to prevent too many spoilers and to make sure everyone actually plays this game mode and we get all the support we need, I'm actually not going to show you guys any other fights after this one. If you look at the top hand right, it'll give you the breakdown on what you need to do in order to continue with the game, and in order to get access to that special boss we all know everyone wants to fight. So keep that in mind as well. If you clear out the objectives, you'll be able to do that. And these barriers aren't as weak as they look. Where's our Punisher at? Why is he not? Okay, he's hitting with a shotgun. Oh God, that's hilarious. Another tip I like to do is I get a bunch of damage reductions as well, just because if I'm gonna be a close range Moon Knight, I need to, make sure I actually have the power. And this is going to be the first of the 3 mainline bosses you can fight. There's one more you can battle, but again, I don't want to spoil that for you guys. I'm so in love with this game mode. It's honestly, genuinely everything I've been hoping for. And I'd rather you guys get a chance to play it on your own without me ruining it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to beat this guy up and then give you guys my final thoughts on this. Oh, after I get myself put in a pack. And we died. That's unfortunate, but it does give me an opportunity to show you guys a little bit more of what I was talking about here. As I said before, you can set up different gears after you've fought. You get an idea of the new stuff you have. So this here tells me, boom, I got a new knuckle. Let's see, any armor? Oh, I got some new armor. Any accessories? Bam, new accessories. And you put these on every time because what they'll do is they're gonna make you just overall stronger. Same with the leveling of your character. Overall, this has been my beginner level guide to the game as far as the PvE mode. I know you guys probably have a lot more questions, so let me know in the comment section the other topics you wanna see in the advanced guide. I plan on doing weekly content on PvE mode and just breaking down each of the characters. If you guys have any characters in mind you want to see first, let me know in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to tell your auntie I said hi.